From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. cptallybar.com. That is the website. Or, as always, pull out the phone, hit up the QR code, go to the website. Coming up on today's show, maybe some practice observations, and then the Renegade Express as we come to you on the road to New Orleans. Wake Up Warchant brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, again in Tallahassee, off Appalachia Parkway. They've got the website, cptallybar.com. You can place your order online, pick it up. As we always said, once you walk in there, you're going to be like, this place is awesome. I don't want to leave. And we are part of the Warchant.com family. That $1 special, Corey, not sure how much longer it's going to last. And we want to bring everybody over. Like everybody out there, all you Florida State fans, it's only $1 for a whole year. You get Corey's observations that you could have read hours ago. Ira's inside his 3-2-1's Henshaw's house, where he talks to former NFL coordinator as well as Bobby Bowden's assistant back in the day, George Henshaw. All that's over on the website for only $1 for an entire year. We want to bring all of you over. Just you want to save all the kids. We want to bring them all over, right?
Well, and you don't want to do it too late. You don't want to join this party when it's over. You know what I mean? Like we've been unbelievably gracious in keeping this thing open for about a month now.
Yes.
And you just want to you're going to kick yourself when this team is 7-1 in number 11 in the country, and you're like, man, I'd love to be reading this stuff, but I don't want to spend that money. But I could have had it all for $1, and I messed it up. I screwed the pooch. I blew it. Going to be one of the bigger regrets of your life. So you don't want to. Aslan, when you get to your final days, you want to have as few regrets as possible. You're going to have some. You always do. We know that. But you don't want one of the regrets being, man, in 2022 I had that chance and I blew it. You just don't want to do that. So don't be that person. Don't be that person on their deathbed wishing they were a member of the tribal council.
That's right. Warchant.com. It's only $1 to subscribe for an entire year. It's a trial. I mean, you can try it out. Your credit card will get hit for $1. That's it for a whole entire year. Go ahead. Check it out. I was busy doing video uploads. Again, there's maybe some background noise you might be hearing, although we got the headsets on, both of us, and Corey is driving in Stephanie's beautiful vehicle, which has been meticulously detailed for your guy here. So we do appreciate the heck out of her. I'm in the back seat, but like the third row. Corey was very, very reliant, very firm about me not being too close, and we don't want to make eye contact.
Right.
Won't even look in the rearview mirror to look at me. So
no. As far as I know, I don't even know if you're really back there.
Yeah.
You might as well be back at the your home studio.
Yeah. So we'll get the show on the road for you here soon. Also, don't forget, if you're going to be in New Orleans Saturday, the meet and greet going down 2 to 5 o'clock local time out there in New Orleans at the Howlin' Wolf. That's in the French Quarter, Peter Street, something like that. Howlin' Wolf, just Google it. You'll find all of us. We'll be there. Ira's going to be there too, everybody. So's Tom. So's Jeff.
And a ton of women.
Yeah, apparently.
And a ton of women. So that's going to be exciting. And I just want to give everybody, so you can picture it in your mind, we're on I-10 West, obviously. We're coming up on a exit 70. Okay. So I think we're, what does that mean? We're 70 miles in the state of Florida, and then we'll be in Alabama. Is that how that works, Aslan?
Should be, yeah. Right.
So I think this is the Niceville exit. Okay. We got a Love's with a McDonald's and a Subway attached to it that we're driving by right now. So, yeah, this is the Eglin Air Force Base Niceville exit if you're trying to keep track. And I'll also let you know what exit we're driving past when the show ends, and you can look at a map, and it's like you're riding along with us.
All right, so I was busy doing all these videos and stuff during practice on Thursday. I wasn't able to really watch much. I like some of the good on good. Man, the offense in that early period number 3 where they go tempo, and it's a game situation where, the offense is down by a certain amount of points, and I think they usually try to get to field goal range mostly. But they sometimes will take a shot for the end zone. And Jordan just looked really good, really accurate. Man, there's a family, there is a particular throw that he just loves doing. And at what point does the defense figure out a way to stop it? Because they know it's coming, and they can't stop it. So I don't know if that makes you feel a little bit about the defense, or just this kid is lights out, and after he takes down LSU on Sunday night, he's going to be a dark horse candidate for the Heisman, much like Joe Burr back in 2019. Yeah. So we'll be in New Orleans. If you really are eager and interested about Jordan Travis being like a dark horse candidate for the Heisman, Corey also has a vote, so he can kind of really tip the scales. He can put the bet in for you, and he can vote for Jordan Travis to pull it through. What did you take away from Thursday?
Well, I didn't even think about that. I wonder if you can get odds on like if somebody finishes in just the top 10. I know they do Heisman odds for the winner, but can you get to somewhere where they give you Heisman odds for finishing in the top 10? Because I feel like a first-place vote would carry a lot of weight for Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
But even if that's the only vote he gets, that might push him. That might propel him at least into the top 15. So Thursday's practice, there were some takeaways. I will say this. I feel, feel better about center than I did earlier in the week. And I also, look, man, I wrote about it, so I'm going to say it. Johnny Wilson caught a touchdown against the scout team. So that, to me, is also very good news. Like, it's as bad as I thought maybe things were looking on Sunday or Monday, it would not appear to be looked that bad now. I have no idea who's going to play. Mike Norvell was asked about it afterwards. You can watch the video that Aslan put up, and he's very coy because he always is about injuries. But it sure seems like some guys could and should be able to go maybe, but literally don't know the depth chart. So I really don't. I don't know who's going to play and how much, but do feel pretty good about positions where maybe I didn't a couple of days ago. Other than that, I thought the wide receivers had a good day overall, one-on-ones. Pokey made some really nice plays, I thought. And I really like the battle. Micah Pittman and Jamie Robinson go up against each other a good bit in one-on-ones. And they both got each other. Micah had a long catch in one-on-ones and then also got him for a touchdown. Basically, to picture it, folks, they put the ball at the 3-yard line and do one-on-ones. And Micah beat him for a touchdown. Jamie also got an interception on a ball I think he tipped out of Micah's hands, and he also had a couple pass breakups.
Who threw the pass? Who threw the pass that was picked off?
Do what?
Who threw the pass that got picked off?
I don't know, but I also think it literally bounced off his hands. I don't think it was like he got undercut or it was a bad throw necessarily. So, yeah, I thought Micah and Jamie had a good battle. Portier made some more nice catches, and then the running backs had some very nice long plays in a portion of practice. So, again, I think the strengths of this team, the running backs are probably the strength of the team on offense, and the wide receivers might not be far behind maybe if they're all healthy and ready to go. Oh, Deuce Spann also made a really nice catch in the end zone from the 3-yard line. Really good move, good hands, good feet to complete the catch. So he might be onto something. He might be. LSU has no idea about him, and why would they? He's caught 8 passes in his career. But maybe, I'm not predicting it, but there is a chance he becomes a householdish name on Sunday night if he has a big game.
Ooh.
If he has a big game because everybody's watching.
Okay, right.
If Deuce Spann hits an 80-yard touchdown or 2 50-yard plays, that name in and of itself is going to be memorable, Deuce, because he's going to be saying deuces as he runs into the end zone.
I'm not ready to go that far. I think Johnny could have like a big night. I don't know if we've seen it from Deuce. But again, against a real competition with defensive backs trying to take his head off, we'll see how that all works out. But yeah, I mean he's had a really good camp, and he had caught a ball against Duquesne. He's carried it on to practice this week, so that's real good. Last thing before we get to the Renegade Express mailbag, I know people are going to listen to this and be like, well, what else do you want to say, Aslan? But man, Mike Norvell is really confident. I mean, I think maybe like 75% of my confidence level for this game is his demeanor and the way he's comported himself this week as we've talked to him. Not even like Monday's press conference, but just at practice. I don't know if it's almost like I know something you don't know kind of a thing. Just he feels so confident about the team. And again, people are like, well, he's the head coach. What do you expect him to say, Aslan? I mean, there's ways you can kind of be excited but also temper things. I mean, he said on Thursday, like, I want the world to see the team I coach.
Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't feel like saying that in 2020 or last year at any point, really. So, I mean, that's really what's kind of buoyed my optimism, which my pick for we actually had the same exact pick in the Warchant report for the game.
You and I did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, buddy.
We
Great
didn't-
minds.
We didn't talk about it all, everybody.
You had Fitzgerald hitting one at the horn?
I got their kicker missing theirs at the horn.
That's kind of our outlooks on life, isn't it? if you can sum it up that way. And also Jordan Travis talked after Thursday's practice. I would encourage all of you guys, if you haven't already, to go watch that interview.
Most confident I've ever been in my life, he said, I think.
Yep. Also, the most comfortable he's been. I just think, he is very confident. I don't think it's false confidence. There's never been an athlete I've ever talked to on this job has said, man, I don't know, I don't feel great. They always say the right things. He just has a feel where he really believes it. He really is confident. Some of that is, I'm sure, the work he's put in.
Absolutely.
Also the experience he has. It is a big stage. He's been on stages like this. This is not his first time. Notre Dame, that was not a stage he'd ever been on before. But he's been at Notre Dame. He's been in the fourth quarter against Miami. He's been in the Swamp. He's been in Death Valley. The Superdome will be a unique feel because it'll feel like a bowl game, but still it won't be anything overwhelming for him. He's been through all this now. He's lived it. So he really is confident. We'll see we'll see how he plays, but he sure seems like a very confident kid going into Sunday night.
I'll be very mad at myself because I'm buying into it. I am buying into what they are putting forth with their words and their actions. And in terms of this, I mean, we're saying the word a lot right now. This could be like the confidence show. But, man, just Mike Norvell and his quarterback feel really, really good about this game, which is making me feel really good about it. And if they lose, we'll see why and how. But I probably will have something to say about that if it doesn't work out in the Noles' favor. But we picked 30-27, I think, is what we both. I think I said 30-27. Yep. So, with that said, let's get to the Renegade Express mailbag. 49 replies. Probably we're gonna. The favorites make it onto the show, and then the rest in the replies. That should be like our tagline or something.
Okay. All right.
We'll start with our guy, Ralph. He's from Tallahassee. He's been in Hawaii for gosh knows how long, but he's been back in Tallahassee for a whole week. Aloha, guys. How's it? His question, if you're the coach of Florida State, how do you start this game off? Safe call? Do you run off tackle, or are you going to go aggressive, take a shot down the field? And why? He'll be in New Orleans. He'll see us at the Howlin' Wolf. Your friend, Ralph, not currently in Hawaii. That's
right, man. He's a panhandle Ralph right now. I don't know, Ralph. I mean, I really don't. I would think. I don't put a lot of stock into the first play. It's more about what their frame of mind will be, what their plan will be for the first drive or the first couple of drives. And part of me thinks it would be to establish the run, to show them this is what we're going to do. But we also think that they probably need to throw a little bit to open up the run. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's more passing the first couple drives to try to open up the run for later in the game. But it's the first play. I'm going to say a triple reverse, flip back to Jordan, throw it to Wyatt Rector for about 9 yards.
A lot of squeeze, not a lot of juice.
Right.
Roll the pocket, flip, shovel pass underneath. Get 7-8 yards.
Okay, then your 2nd and 2 and your little tempo. You get that first down. You feel good about yourself. All right, Aslan. I don't
want to see any conventional handoff. I want to see something. I want to throw the ball, man. Throw the ball.
The thing is, they don't do conventional handoffs. Even when they hand the ball off, there is always the element that the quarterback is going to keep it.
Correct. Yeah,
they don't just get under center and run a toss sweep or a handoff off tackle. There is always the element of 13 holding on to the ball.
Osceola Trucker. His avatar is his rig. I wonder if we passed by him at all. We did see a rig absolutely annihilated. Back near Weewa-Hitchka, Corey's old stomping grounds.
Right.
New member at Warchant from Anthony, Florida, Osceola Trucker.
By the way, it didn't look like there were any injuries that we could see. There were no ambulances or fire trucks or anything, but it looked like the trailer had come disconnected from the
trailer, from the truck.
The truck, yeah.
Sorry. I used to work in freight. Should have known that.
Yeah, come on, man.
If Florida State LSU goes in overtime, who has the advantage? Florida State. LSU's got a new kicker. And Florida State's red zone offense is amazing, right? Longest streak in the nation. Overtime, we're starting the 20 the whole time. We're in the red zone.
I was going to say, was that the last time they didn't score in the red zone was the overtime against Notre Dame? But I don't think they even made it inside the red zone on that drive, right? Like they got the ball at the 25. I don't think they made it inside the 20. They might have. I don't remember. But they ended the year like converting like 40 times in a row or 30 times in a row. We should probably know that. We do cover the team, but they do have the longest streak in the nation for consecutive scores in the red zone. So yeah, I would say I guess Florida State. I know if it was a basketball game, Florida State would have the advantage because they don't lose overtime games in basketball.
Yeah, this show might be a little bit of a challenge. I don't have 2 screens to access the internet to look things up.
It's fine, man. We're off the dome. We got a good idea.
Derail.
Stephanie can look it up. Or she's listening. Look it up, Stephanie. Look it up.
Derail. If I mention over/under on punt returners letting punts hit the ground at 1.5, over or under?
Under.
Yeah.
And we need to frame that too. Like, if it's a coffin corner, like guys kicking from the 46-yard line, those always bounce. Those don't count. Like if a ball lands at the 7 or the 4, like you can go catch the ball at the 7, but it's not the end of the world. We're talking about balls that are in like the middle of the field. I'm going to say under.
Okay. Wavy Noles Surfer, good morning and wake up. Long-time listener, first-time asker, current undergrad at Florida State.
There you go. Wavy? Did you say his name was Wavy?
Yeah,
All
Wavy
right.
Noles Surfer.
I guess it could be a she.
I hail from Orlando, home of Wesley Snipes.
Okay.
Really?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Also, football great Warren Sapp. My question is, do you think that Coach Mike Norvell will stick to the running game as we saw against Duquesne, or will he let Jordan Travis do his thing and give our receiver transfers a chance to prove themselves in a true game primetime showcase Sunday night? Thanks for everything you guys do. Go Noles.
I mean, I think if he had his druthers, he would establish the run and run for 300 yards, but LSU is going to probably dictate a little bit of that. I don't think they're going to allow that. So, no, I think he will open it up. And I think they do plan to show, we'll see how it works out. I think their mindset going into this is LSU has no idea how different Brian Kelly has no idea how much better we are at wide receiver.
Right.
He can't. So we're about to show and prove to the world that we don't have the worst wide receiver core in the country anymore. And so I think that every coach wants to be balanced. I just think he knows they're probably gonna have to do more through the air than a normal game. Brian Kelly, not only are they good on the defensive line, Brian Kelly has said for 30 months, 24 months. That he does not want Jordan Travis to beat him with the legs, going back to the game in 2020. So they know they really do want to stop the run. So they will be ears pinned trying to do that.
Which is going to be interesting because, he's going to have to throw in certain parts of the field that we haven't seen him do quite a lot. But the parts that we have seen, especially here at practice, he's so automatic on that. I wonder how much you can take advantage of that before they'll make their adjustments.
The middle of the field is where great quarterbacks live. It's hard for Jordan Travis last year and the year before to make a ton of throws in the middle of the field. Keyshawn Helton, you can't see him. Pokey Wilson's 5'11". Like, he's got guys now, not counting Cam McDonald, who's 6'4". You got 6'7", 6'4", another 6'4". So he's just got better, bigger targets in the middle of the field. So, and I was really encouraged by the throw to Portier in the second half on his only drive of the second half, and then he had one to Deuce Spann too, kind of an in cut, where it's like, yes, that's where you can live, that's where you need to live against some of these defenses. That's what you could not do against Clemson, and we'll see if they can do it against LSU.
By the way, Corey, I am listening and paying attention. I'm just looking at my phone so I can write down the timestamps for our listeners so they know what we're talking about when. So
that's fine, man. I'm not even looking at you. Do whatever you want back there. Keep your clothes on.
Jay Cherry
show.
Jay Cherry 904. If Florida State is not able to get an effective pass rush, which I think is likely, how do we feel about the defensive backfield against that uber-talented wide receiver core? Go Noles. I took the over.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all.
I don't want to overreact. Thursday, the first 2 reps that the first-team defense took against the scout team offense went right to the tight end. The first one was a touchdown. The other one was like a 8-yard gain. And this was a walk-on tight end at Florida State right now. Not even one of the scholarship guys, which haven't exactly set the world on fire.
Nobody needs to hear that.
But they tightened up after that and did their thing. But I
did see Brendan Gant with a pick 6 on a throw to the tight end.
I saw Renardo get a pick.
Yeah. There you go. So nice. Yeah, they did something. But Brendan Gant, will probably play some. because it's doubtful that Amari plays. I think Coach Norvell said that on Tuesday. So
he'll be unavailable. He said he'll be unavailable.
Brendan Gant will probably play some, and that was good to see. But of course, it was the scout team, and we do think that LSU has some talented dudes. Their most talented guy is Jason Taylor's son, right? Who's a true freshman, probably.
Mason Taylor. Yeah.
But as we were talking about earlier on Thursday, Aslan, it didn't even occur to me that Eric Gilbert's now at Georgia. He was at LSU last year, and when I was looking up mock drafts for 2023. That dude is projected as a first-round pick, and he was at LSU last year, and now he's at Georgia as a second stringer. Again, it just goes into the notion that, man, what a time to catch LSU. Yes, their tight ends are probably pretty good, and the freshmen might be awesome, but it sure beats playing these guys than it would have Eric Gilbert, a potential first-round pick, and certainly a Sunday guy. So, again, that's kind of a break. As good as these tight ends might be, right now in 2022, they are not Eric Gilbert.
That's why I don't want to get Georgia or Alabama off the schedule yet. Who knows? Maybe they'll hit a downturn, much like the way Florida State's catching LSU right now.
Let me ask you a question. Will they be worse than Duquesne? I would schedule Duquesne every year for the foreseeable future. That is a great way to start a season.
Shout out to Chance BMX12. That's his Snapchat name, I guess, on his truck that you just heard drive by.
Oh, yeah, that was a loud truck, wasn't it? Yeah, come on.
Add him and let him know if he's compensating. Dane_Owen. I think I didn't skip anything over, right? Yeah. Dane_Owen. But no, just back to that real quick. That is probably the one thing I'm most fearful of. I am more I'm confident in Jordan's. I think the offense will be all right, which is crazy because this whole offseason we're talking about the defense will be who they are. They'll play in that sort of 30 to top 40 range. Can this offense? It's all in this offense. It's Mike Norvell. You're calling the shots. Finally, you got all the weapons you want. It's your turn to take things over and pull your weight. I think they will. The defense, there's potential there that they might not be able to get home. And if they can't get home, it's going to be really tough to block or cover.
You're not going to. Well, look, man, there are NFL secondaries that wouldn't cover this group if they didn't have a pass rush. A lot of them. Again, Booty is maybe the best best receiver in the country, and the other two guys that they'll be playing a lot aren't shabby at all.
No, Besh and Neighbors had really good freshman seasons, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, that is you can't ask your corners to cover for that long. You just can't. And look, man, I'm of the opinion, and I said it before, you can't give up a free 80. If they drive down the field and can convert in the red zone for touchdowns, throw your hand, just tip your cap to Jaden Daniels. But I'm of the bend but don't break.
Okay.
Just you can't snap in half and give them a couple long touchdowns. Some touchdown drives, sure, but keep those guys in front of you, man. Make them convert 9 or 10 plays to go down the field instead of giving them a free 80 because you just can't run with them.
Yeah. Imagine you're up 21-10 late in the third quarter, but then you have a bust, and then LSU.
Yeah, you just give them a free. It's the Alabama game in 2017. You just took the lead. They're never behind in games, ever. The offense has been terrible. Your defense is kind of dominating them. On Tate just scored the touchdown over Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
So
I was in that corner. I filmed it. Yeah.
I think you've got a lead. I think
do.
You're up 10-7.
You are, yeah.
And literally 2 plays later, you give up a wide open touchdown to Calvin Ridley, and you're never back in the game. Just don't get. If you'd have made Jalen Hurts go down the field to convert 5 or 6 first downs, you would have had the lead at halftime. But instead, a safety makes a bust, I think, I think it was a safety, and you give one of the best receivers in the country a chance to just have a free 70-yard touchdown.
And poor Stanford Samuels III is on that film,
Yeah, but I think he thought, at least Jimbo afterwards said that the safety was supposed to be there, and he wasn't. So
there might have been another point in that season where Alabama was trailing, but I don't think they trailed maybe until the Iron Bowl that year. Florida State was the only team that had a lead on them, I think maybe up until the Iron Bowl. It was crazy. Good times back then. Dane_Owen, I guess maybe this kind of echoes back to one of the previous questions. What up, dudes? Having a sneaking suspicion FSU will have more passing yards than rushing yards. What say you? Well, I hope so. It's 2022. I mean, I was going to say, honestly, Paul Johnson out there.
That should be the case almost every week. Yeah. If you trust your quarterback and you think you've upgraded these receivers like we think you have and like you say you have, it's in 2022, like Aslan said, there shouldn't be more than maybe 1 or 2 times, and that might be because like last week, you ran for 400 yards. So okay, that if you're going to run for 400 yards, fine, but you won't do that again. So against real teams with real defenses, if you trust this quarterback, if this quarterback has made the strides you think, you need to be throwing for more than you run.
Yeah,
you can run for 200 and still throw for 250.
Right. I was about to say, even if he throws, even if you run for 2 1/4, like, man, your quarterback should probably be throwing for 250 at least with this kind of offense, with this guy that you brought in. But thanks for the question, Dan. We appreciate it. Armchair Osceola, it's LSU week, gentlemen. Do we even need exclamation points? No.
Nope.
Question, last year we routinely had an outmatched offensive line, and yet this staff, minus Kenny Dillingham, was still able to scheme up a ground game. Considering LSU's defensive line is the strength of their defense, do you see that experience for these coaches playing being a significant factor in New Orleans? Do you see that experience for these coaches playing being a significant factor in New Orleans?
He's talking about the Notre Dame game, or what was the first part?
Offensive line was not good last year, but we still had a pretty good ground game.
Yeah.
That LSU's strength of their defensive line is the experience of last year going through having an outmatched offensive line, I guess, and still finding ways to run the ball. Is that going to be a significant factor going up against even though you got a better offensive line and you're playing against a really good defensive line? I guess maybe you pull back to last year's lessons and figure I don't want to say they're going to run the ball all over LSU, but I mean, I can't see Florida State ever just getting completely stymied with this coaching staff running the ball, because
they'll typically scheme up some stuff. They do a good job of scheming. Now look, if you're just getting killed in the middle of the line and there's penetration everywhere, and you're dictated that you can only run outside on the perimeter and they can scheme for that, you're going to have issues. Like Clemson, you had no shot running the ball. You just didn't. But I think Clemson's defensive line last year is better than this LSU defensive line. And I think that Florida State's offensive line is better. So, they find ways, man. Notre Dame had a good defensive front last year, I thought, and you ran for 260 against them. You're going to have to hit some big runs, though. You're not going to consistently get 7, 9, 6, 4, 11, 13 from your running backs. You're going to have to hit a 1, a -1, 80, 26, 3, 1, 19, like stuff like that. You're not going to just consistently get 7 or 8 yards a pop like you were doing on Saturday. I don't know what to do with Cartwright.
I don't either. I mean, the guy in the truck.
He's. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Is that his muffler that makes that sound?
I guess.
I mean, come on, Cartwright.
And it's
lack of a muffler, but it's noise pollution. And I'm going 80. He's going 80. We're in the left lane. He can't get around these trucks or these other cars. So I've tried to hang back so we don't hear him that much, but it's not really working.
Yeah, it's like a 2000.
Should I sprint around him and go 90? I don't think that's going to do us any good either.
I feel like if we get ahead of him, because I feel like the sound is emanating from the back end of his car.
All right, I'll try to get ahead of him here.
It's
fine, man. I don't see a cop. Let's see. Everybody say hey to Cartwright as we chance
BMX 12. Add him on Snapchat and tell him that he's weird, everybody.
No,
please.
Don't say that. Just, he's not weird.
Tell me he ruined your favorite podcast.
Yeah, well, I got around him, though. And now I just got to get in front of this truck and get in the left lane.
Corey's got a headset on.
Yeah,
he just looks.
You probably think that's a little weird, like I'm talking to air traffic control or something.
He's got a Middle Eastern guy in the back seat. They're both on headsets. God knows what they're doing.
We're about to be pulled over.
As always, drink your DeLuna, hit the like button, visit Corner Pocket when you're in Tallahassee. Go Noles. P.S. Corey, apologies for my cards taken 2 from your Braves.
Yeah, that was disappointing. That was disappointing. Had a lead in both games, including a 5-0 lead on Saturday night, and blew it. That's fine, though. That's fine. Braves are still doing all right, I guess.
We drove by this exit a little while ago. Dothan Knoll. Wake up, guys. Wake up. I was at Doak watching the Noles pound Duquesne, but I'm still concerned, especially when it comes to special teams.
Well,
given what we saw last year, knowing how important special teams can be in big games when it comes to field position, how long do you think Papuchas has before he gets his walking papers?
Well, let's slow that down a little bit. Now, he's also the defensive ends coach. And here's the thing, man.
And Norvell's really involved in the special teams, too. It's not like he just lets John Papuchas do everything and walks away.
They're all involved.
Yes.
They all have duties when it comes to special teams. So I don't know that he would be like, man, Papuchas is really hamstringing me. Like, if he could go get the duty he had at Memphis that then went to Penn State, right? I don't even know how Penn State did last year in special teams, but I know Penn State went and got Mike's special teams coordinator from the 19 or 18 season. And he ended up making Penn State really good. So if he could go try to get that guy, otherwise I just don't know how much blame for special teams you put just on one person. Now, it is his title, and if you're not performing well, then, you could make a change, but I don't know that you want to make a change to the staff.
Right.
Like maybe like, I guess I want to say is like, you don't need to maybe fire Papuchas because he's also the DN's coach. And, the DNs around here have been pretty good lately. So if he gets blamed for the special teams production, he should get, lauded for what the defensive ends did last year. By the way, Keir Thomas, again, an NFL player, hooked on with the Rams, made the 53. So that's awesome. But, yeah, look, there's no doubt that Mike Norvell was, I would say, embarrassed. Not just disappointed, but literally embarrassed by the special teams last year. Because when he took the job, he said he wanted his program to be judged by special teams. Because he thinks if you're really good at special teams, that shows the buy-in and the attention to detail that means you're a good program with a great culture. And they were mostly god-awful last year in special teams. So if that continues, especially in the return game, I wouldn't doubt that a change would be made, but I don't know that necessarily means you just get rid of the Papuchas, because I think he really does like what Papuchas does with the defensive ends.
Grumpy BK, wake up, gents. If you aren't awake for this Labor Day weekend, you don't have a pulse. Pretty
Amen.
accurate. And you do have a pulse, and you're a Florida State fan. You're probably New Orleans. Come on out to the Howlin' Wolf. Hang with us 2 to 5 o'clock Saturday. Which player not named Jordan Travis is likely the MVP for the game if we were to win? And who, not including Jordan, if we most likely fell short of expectations if we're on the losing side? Who would most likely fall short of expectations if we were to lose? I don't know if Jared Verse is the answer to both these questions. I don't want to put too much expectations on our poor guy from Albany, but, man, somebody has to get to the quarterback. You're it. But I think I can see Johnny or maybe Micah. I think it'd be a receiver. I don't think a running back, even though maybe a guy like Toafili catches some passes out the backfield and has a lot of all-purpose yards.
I think Ward, man. I think Trayshawn. If Trayshawn gets in the end zone a couple times, he could be the MVP. And then, I think I would go with, you could name somebody on the defensive line. You have to be very good on the defensive line in this game. It not only just getting to the quarterback, if they establish any sort of running game, because I don't feel like they ran the ball well at all last year. That's why they had to throw so much. And it's a new offensive line with a running back that averaged 3 yards a carry at Penn State. Certainly, I'm sure he's fine. He's a fine running back. He's not anything special. If you can't stop the traditional running game with the running backs, Jaden Daniels might bust a couple first down runs. If they're able to just run on you with a new offensive line that's never really played together, that's really bad news. So, but pick a guy. Cooper, Lovett, McClendon, Briggs, Arverse. They all need to play well.
I don't think the game prop of who the MVP is going to be is available on the sports books, but everything else under the sun pretty much is over at mybookie.ag. Use the promo code WARCHANT and your first deposit will be doubled. I mean, we're giving you $1 for a subscription to the website for a whole year.
Unbelievable.
MyBookie's doubling your bonus by just using the promo code WARCHANT on your first deposit. Head over to the site. It's a 3-point spread, 51 points on the over-under. Be brave. Parlay it all together. Moneyline Noles. 3 points will take it. And the over. Do it all.
No.
Or just, I don't know, maybe pick one of those so you don't totally shoot yourself in the foot. But anything you want to do this weekend that comes to college betting and the entire season, check out mybookie.ag. Maybe we should have had Corey put together a parlay for us. Georgia game, maybe the Ohio State Notre Dame game. Maybe next week.
Is the spread in that game 17? The Ohio State Notre Dame. I don't know why I'm asking you. You can't look it up.
I can't look it up.
Hey, Steph, look up the spread for the Ohio State Notre Dame football game.
mybookie.ag. Use that promo code WARCHANT. Let's go to our guy Mark
Notre
M.
Dame.
Adam CZ. Wake up! And comment c'est? I think. How is it in Cajun French? He spelled it out, but I don't know.
Hey, by the way, folks, we're driving by the rest area on 10 that has the plane, like the Blue Angel plane. So you can picture where we are, which I assume is close to Pensacola now.
My wife Lauren and I are literally a mere hour from boarding a plane to New Orleans. Kind of have a big picture question for you. Stephanie really is looking up the
It was
spread
17 and a half. That's crazy. Notre Dame's like top 10.
Yeah.
That's a huge spread.
No.
Ohio State gave up like 40-something points in their bowl game last year.
Yeah, but that quarterback, man.
No, they're going to put up
those
points,
receivers,
but
yeah.
you got to assume Notre Dame will put up a few too.
Yeah.
17 and a half is a huge number.
And
Jeez.
that Buckner kid's supposed to be the goods for Notre Dame. That'd be ironic. They finally may have their best quarterback, which Brian Kelly did recruit, but then he leaves, and he finally has maybe an elite quarterback out there. A big picture question from Mark in Naples. It's been bothering me for a couple of years now. The narrative has been the following. A, Norvell inherited a mess of a roster that had poor culture. B, COVID. C, he has patched issues with Band-Aids from the transfer portal, and very well, by the way. D, administration has not invested enough in football. E, FSU's at a disadvantage against the SEC and their NIL opportunities, on and on. When is the line in the sand on when that narrative stops? When are there no more excuses? I love Norvell as a guy and a coach. He does, everybody. Mark's a big Norvell fan. He has CEO-type qualities to run a big program, I believe. He seemingly has confidence in what they're doing and what he is doing, truly. But when can we put this narrative in the rear view? To me, Mike needs time to develop the 2022 and 23 recruiting classes, but I also think that he should start beating the bejesus out of average ACC teams.
But Jesus, nice. Did he really write that?
Yeah.
There you go, Mark.
Sorry for the tone of the question. I'm
Shout
truly
out.
excited for New Orleans. I think we have an excellent chance to make a statement. Jordan can beat these guys with an improved offensive line and wide receiving core. And if we don't pull out a win in New Orleans, the Louisville game is extremely critical. See you guys soon. Gumbo on me, Corey, and some Charles Grilled oysters for you, Aslan. Go Noles. This is the year, right? I mean, that's not a line in the sand, but listen, all the issues, man, have been addressed. Maybe not fully remedied, but he's had enough time to sort of address them. This is a season, a very pivotal season, where maybe we should see him maybe beat a Georgia Tech team by 2 or 3 scores at home. Maybe you beat either Wake or Boston College by 2 or 3 scores at home, these ACC teams. Maybe that's not beating the bejesus out of them, but who is, though? I mean, was Clemson even really I mean, I think Clemson might have dragged Georgia Tech a few years ago. But even with Trevor Lawrence, there's some games they were a little bit nip and tuck in with ACC teams. So, I mean, to get to that level where you're just hammering your conference opposition, I don't know, maybe another 2 or 3 years of elite recruiting, which they're not exactly on that pace yet. But, I mean, all these other things about NIL opportunities that the administration give enough money to invest in, man, trust me, we cannot find parking out front of the Moore Center. Those people are there. They've been employed now for several months. We should be able to see some of these gains realized this season, I believe. This is a crucial season, man. It's a very important season.
Yeah, and I think, I wrote about it Saturday, actually. I think we published it Saturday before the Duquesne game, but about how there's, I don't know, man, like twice as many staff members as there were last year. Like Alford and company have invested in it. That is a false narrative. Do they have 1 million people in their team photo like Florida? No. But they have invested a lot. They have more coaches on this staff than they ever have in the history of Florida State football.
Yeah.
Not even close, really. So that narrative is false. The NIL is what it is. Like I wouldn't call them excuses necessarily, because the excuse making is over. Like, I think they're more explanations. Like, look, man, it was a bad break. Not only did he have to do he had to take over after Willie Taggart took over after Jimbo Fisher, so he was inheriting a mess. The best player on his team outs him on Twitter 3 minutes into his first year, right? I mean, I know that was in June, but he had never coached a game, so he had to put out that fire. He had 3 receivers tweeting nonsense in the middle of a practice in August. That was the kind of culture that he inherited. DJ Matthews, Tamorian Terry, and I can't remember, was it Warren Thompson?
Yeah.
All those guys were tweeting and retweeting about how poorly they were being treated.
And that also COVID, and people were on edge.
All that, but that's kind of the culture he inherited, and he also had to deal with COVID. And then
I'm saying that some of the stuff they were talking about was COVID related in terms of protocols.
I think it's more about, you have to make it public.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Do you not care at all about, like, maybe you can have a complaint. We want you to be empowered. That doesn't necessarily mean everybody needs to see it all the time. And I'm talking more about the receivers. But
divas.
But right, yeah, right. And then the early signing period that kind of hurt. When was the early signing period? Was that Willie?
Yeah, first year.
So he takes over, and that first recruiting class is non-existent essentially. So that's a bummer. And
well,
then,
at least Willie was recruiting off of Jimbo's sort of some of that. You saw Florida State was still an appealing place in December of 2018 to come to.
And Willie was an appealing coach to play for. But once they saw that product in 18, because Willie still landed a top 10 class, and that's why I thought he was going to be a juggernaut. Because he still did what he did on that recruiting cycle with like 10 days to work. He convinced a bunch of kids to not go to Oregon. He got Jaden Woodby. Like, legitimately, he did well, and you thought, okay, man, this guy's going to knock it out of the park. And then people saw the way the team looked in 18, and there that went. But then also the NIL thing is a big deal, man. Like, I don't know that Travis Hunter would be at Jackson State if the rules were the way the rules were 3 years ago, if the world worked that way. That was just some – it's not an excuse. It's just an explanation. But it's all over now. Like, I think the point is – you still have more resources at your fingertips in with history, tradition, fan base, facilities than everybody on your schedule not named Florida. You just do. Maybe Clemson. But all the other teams in the ACC, there's no excuse to continually lose to Wake Forest. There's none. Yeah, I get you had COVID. We're past that now. And I don't mean like he literally caught COVID, although he did. Like, he had to deal with COVID. But you're past that now. Like, you're 2 or 3 recruiting classes in now. Your whole depth chart is transfers. So I think this is the year that kind of narrative stops. Now, I'm not saying this is the year he goes 9-3 and everybody loves him, but he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt anymore starting really this season heading into next season. There has to be tangible proof of improvement. And I think there will be. But there has to be proof on the field, not just in your feels. It should be a T-shirt. Like, I feel like he's doing a good job. No. Now we got to see that he's doing a good job.
On the field, not the feels.
Yeah.
Feels the field. Nole Dad for life, or 4L. Wake up, fellas. Let's go. First things first. My son's name is Aiden, and as of Wednesday morning, he's still not here yet. Keep pushing.
Oh, man. Yeah, you get it out.
Breathing. Did you do Lamaze? Steph? Is it a real thing? Is it legit? Do you endorse it?
I got the drugs.
She got the drugs.
No, that's Lamaze is the classes, though.
Yeah, the
right?
breathing.
Yeah, but, I mean, why? When they
Okay. You didn't go to classes, like birthing classes?
Anywho, first off, I can definitely say that Coach Norvell's confidence and enthusiasm.
I thought he was going to ask me, the co-host, what we did with our son Brady, but he asked the person that's driving in the passenger seat.
Well, it's
riding.
It's your woman now, though.
That's true. Yeah, she actually had to go through it, I guess. The thing is, Shanna didn't have to see what I saw.
Jeez.
That's the real anguish of being in that room. Man. Holy moly.
All right, Norvell's confidence and enthusiasm is absolutely contagious. I am all in. Could this be Clemson 2013? We weren't supposed to win that one either.
Oh, well.
Well, that wasn't his question. That was just part of his preamble. But maybe, dream that big dream. You guys are making me start dream the big dream. I'm supposed to keep you guys grounded, but you all are lifting me. I'm tipsy off that aid.
Now we're going over the big bridge on the way into Pensacola. Whatever this big body of water is. Aslan, you got any idea what this is?
Escambia Bay, Pensacola Bay. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Something could be the Atlantic. Is it the Atlantic Ocean, babe?
Jeez.
Escambia Bay. Good work.
Focus.
Aslan.
Tighten up.
Sorry.
A question this week. Instead of dumping something on your head, Corey, you should chug the local drink for each team that we beat, and we can see how long the wrap-up goes for.
Oh, before I throw up? Yeah, I mean, that's always a possibility, too. I don't know that Gene wants me doing that, but I don't think I'm going to dump something on my head. I think that was a one-time thing. I'll figure out something to do.
They had never been in that position since, 1973 or whatever it was. It was apropos to do something crazy and over the top. Listen, we're going to start winning football games now. Corey can't be doing something – it's not your 50th anniversary every day,
Right.
So treat him right. Right. Busby for Heisman. I am Lawrence Toa feeling it. FSU 41, LSU 21.
Okay. All right. That would be something.
Nole fan 624, wake up. If FSU wins by more than 10 points, will they get ranked or will they be receiving votes? Or do they have to get that third win against Louisville for that?
They'll be receiving votes. Look, man, if Florida State, I know
if
how
they win by
important,
2 scores, though, I think they'll be ranked.
I don't think so because I think it would just be, LSU's a work in progress. You're not going to get a lot of credit for beating this LSU team. Just like I don't think LSU will get a ton of credit for beating this Florida State team. Now, at the end of the year, it might be a great win for either one of them, or a nice win anyway. But I don't know that right now with both these teams coming off losing seasons that you beating them on a neutral site gets you ranked for either team. Unless it's I think it would have to be more than 10 points. Like if Florida State went out there and won 45-6, then yeah, they'll get ranked. But 34-24, I don't think so. Remember the days when Florida State was ranked every week, Aslan?
Oh yeah.
Like high.
Yeah.
Like high, like number, like low numbers, like
right.
anywhere from like 1 to 4.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was like a content item we could just rely on. Like, hey, it's Monday morning. Somebody be sure to post the updated rankings on the front of warchant.com.
Yep. Now I don't even know when they come out. I don't know what rankings we would use.
We're going to, eventually, starting next year, we'll probably have to start doing Wake Up Warchant live when the playoff poll gets published.
That's not like a reaction show to see where they are. Yeah, good point, Aslan.
Man, we're going to be making so much money that time. Seminole life. Wake up, boys. Here's a hypothetical negative question. If we lose to LSU with all their new additions, new players, new schemes, new staff, meanwhile, we're on year 3 of a new staff and supposedly a cohesive team, what, if anything, does that say about this staff? It's a fair question, Corey.
It is a fair question. You definitely have a reason to question if they lose, especially if they lose and look bad doing it. I guess that's all in the eye of the beholder. But yes, I would say you definitely would have a reason to question why would your staff in year 3 lose to a first-year staff. Now, the answer could be simple as, well, they got better players than you. And LSU does have better players than you. But I don't think it's not that wide a gap that a continuity and a third year of a program should be able to mitigate that. Because you do have good players. You don't have great players. You might not have a single great player on this team, but you do have good players. And that hopefully will be good enough. But, yeah, that's definitely a fair question. I don't think you can throw all your eggs into the LSU basket and say if Mike Norvell loses this game, he's never going to figure it out. He's not the right answer. Let's see what it looks like. And I know that's not how this show works and how life works and how fandom works, but let's see what it looks like at the end of the month and at the end of the year. Like what they are going to lose games this year. It doesn't mean it's going to be a bad season, and it doesn't mean that he can't get this program in the position that we all want it to be.
I was curious when you said, it depends if they lose ugly. I mean, so they've lost 13 times since he's been here, right? They went 3-6, 5-7.
Yeah.
I guess Notre Dame and Clemson last year were the only losses you probably were like, all right, well, we tried, we did okay. I mean, we're Florida State. We're not a very big moral victory program, but
Jacksonville State, you took them to the final play. And I would say I might throw Florida in there only because Travis got hurt.
No, Corey. I mean, that game, they had an interim staff, and you had all the play for to make a bowl game. And a lot of it, too, man.
I'm not saying it's a moral victory. That was a bad loss. I'm saying it wasn't an ugly loss like they got blown off the field, like Wake Forest was and Jacksonville State was.
I know, but I think that's –
in Louisville the year before.
That's almost like picking – yeah, I mean, those – but that's still a bad loss, though. You know what I mean? I guess you're saying if you lose by one possession to LSU, is that a bad loss? It depends how it plays out, but probably not. But yeah, if you lose by 2 possessions to a first-year coaching staff, new coordinators, both sides of the ball, a transfer quarterback that especially if we're going to say in this negative hypothetical that Seminole Life has put out there, like if Jaden Daniels out-duels Jordan Travis and Jordan maybe doesn't look nearly as comfortable as we've seen him in practice, then you start asking all these big questions. But no reason to think that's going to happen because it's a hypothetical. Braden Knoll. Good morning, fellas. New subscriber, first-time poster. My name's Gabe. I'm 26. I'm from Bradenton, Florida. Okay. I've been listening to you guys ever since it started when I was in college. Thanks for the great work y'all do. Keep it up.
Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate it, man. Peter Warwick is from Bradenton, Florida as well. So 2 greats from Bradenton.
That's right. Question, so he asked the same question about being ranked. So you still think 3-0 to get ranked?
Yeah, I mean, my mind hadn't changed in the last 6 minutes.
Sorry.
With you, Aslan.
I forgot. I remember there were some repetitive questions. I'm like, I need to be sure to bundle those together. I forgot to. But shout out to Braden Knoll. Represent. 229 Noles. Wake up. Hope the crew have safe travels in New Orleans.
Rolling through Pensacola as we speak. So shout out to DeLuna and our men, the Limoxen. We're rolling right through there. And, of course, D.C. Reeves, mayor-elect, who will be at the hopefully he'll be at the thing on Saturday, but he's definitely coming to the game. All right. Maybe he'll be at the meet and greet.
Yeah. What outcome would you say Florida State has a better chance of winning? Low-scoring grinder.
James B. too, by the way. Sorry, James B. You know I remember Pensacola for life.
Roy Jones Jr. as well. Low-scoring grind it out or wide-open shoot it out with a bunch of big plays.
Yeah, we've talked about this the last couple shows. I really don't know what favors Florida State, honestly. I don't know what would be a better I would think more of a I can't even make my mind up. I don't know. I don't really have any reasoning to say, if it's a defensive, if it's a 20-17 game that favors Florida State, or if it's 35-31 that favors Florida State. I don't have any reasoning for thinking one way or the other. Do you?
Yeah, man. I think Florida State has the edge of quarterback, so the higher scoring game, I would just put that on one of the other quarterbacks out-dueling the other, making more big plays. So if Florida State's got the better quarterback, you want to be the one that's going to score the more points. If you grinding it out, I don't think LSU's got a great run game. Jaden Daniels is dangerous as a runner, but not nearly as dangerous as Jordan. So, Florida State's probably got a better running game than LSU.
Yeah.
I don't know how they'll match up. Pass pro, I don't know if pass pro is going to be a bigger problem for this offensive line or trying to run block, but they've shown us that they figure out ways to scheme a run game. So maybe that grinded out, ugly kind of game favors a team with a better running game. But we just checked off both boxes. Florida State's got the better quarterback and the better run game. So,
there you go. That's all you need.
LSU, you pick how you want to lose in front of all your fans. You pick it.
Exactly right. Florida State will play whatever game you want.
Yeah. Okie Knoll. Wake up, fellas. Last week, impressive, but I don't think we were playing at 100%, especially on defense. Do you think we were trying to bluff LSU? Maybe Tate was bad on purpose. Then he's going to ball out.
Smart.
Maybe we actually have a return game, but we haven't played that card yet.
Yep.
Football's kind of like chess or poker, You play the coach across from you. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I think that McCall was told to look like that.
Yeah,
guys, don't give anything away. They're going to want to kick it to McCall now, and that's going to be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Florida State should have done that with Vanover at 92. Told him to quit returning every kick for a touchdown.
Tripping over.
And then people would have kept kicking to him.
Yeah. The film school's right next to the football facilities, so maybe some of the directors and producers in the Florida State Film School will give them some acting lessons.
Yeah, could be, man. Could be. But, obviously I don't think they were holding. I do think they played very, very vanilla and didn't show many of their cards at all. But I don't think they told Tate to take a dive.
Anyhow, our guy Okie lives in Monroe, Louisiana. A lot of LSU fans confident that they're going to win and win easily. I got our Noles proving them wrong. Safe travels. P.S. Here's a photo of me as a baby. Hope to do this Sunday night.
Oh. Did he really send a picture of himself as a baby?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I might have to call DHS. Not DHS. What's the Stephanie? What's the one for the children?
DFACS?
No. What's the one
Department of Family?
Yeah, DCF.
Oh.
I think he's got a black and mild in his mouth in his thing.
Oh, nice.
Is that a cigar? Is that a victory cigar? Or is that a kazoo? I don't know. It's dangerous, though, Okie. No, I don't know. It was a different time.
It was a different time, man.
It was a simpler time. It was a simpler time.
My parents told me to just go into the woods for the weekend, come back out if I was hungry.
Nolebacks 55. It's our guy Sabaxley 1212, formerly from the old site in Dothan, Alabama, home of former Miss America Heather Whitestone, as well as Fab Four member Lawrence Dawsey, and the temporary home of the great Aslan Hajavandi. That is correct. Not even a whole year, thankfully.
What was the tender scene like in Dothan?
Bleak.
Fair.
I want to say thank you for the show. You guys are great. Look forward to seeing you at the Howling Wolf. Oh, awesome. Represent. Nice. One quick question. Who is the one player that could take over this game and be a difference maker and not only win against LSU but help us blow them out? I think it's one of the defensive ends. What say you? Thanks again. Stay on the grind as always. Go Noles, beat LSU. Speaking of which, we probably won't be on the grind. There probably won't be a Tuesday show, everybody, because we'll be driving back Monday, and we'll probably be just so high on life, celebrating the dub. But we'll maybe.
Plus, there's no availability on Monday.
Yeah.
They're not having a press conference, but we definitely will have something for you after the game, or reactionary for on Labor Day morning.
Yeah, that feels like the MVP question, kind of that can take over and help blow them. I mean, maybe I would say if Deuce Spann is out there, if he goes 4 for 125 and 2 tutties, that's like.
Look, man, he didn't give us any parameters about who we couldn't say, so I'm going to say Jordan Travis.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I don't know if we need to see a good game out of Jared Verse, but I don't know if he's got Josh Kando, Delaware State in him, because that's the kind of amount of sacks he would need to probably get a blowout, right?
That's the bar we're always using for somebody that just dominates an opponent as a defensive end.
How many sacks did he have in that game again?
I think 4.5.
Sheesh. Tennisump, he's in Birmingham.
How many do you think he had in his last year, Aslan? He's still on a roster, too, did he not make? I think he made an NFL roster still.
Is J-Rob on a roster?
I think.
Yeah.
We should check that. I don't know. Hey, can you check if Janarius Robinson isn't on an NFL roster? Thanks.
God bless Stephanie. She's the best. Tennisum says, wake up. Do you think our defensive line has more of an impact against their new offensive line, or will the reverse be true with their defensive line causing our offensive line to have troubles giving Travis enough time and enough holes for the running backs to run through? Thanks as always. I am enjoying a delicious cup of DeLuna coffee as you read this question.
Nice. As we rode through Pensacola.
Yeah.
That's fitting.
Very apropos.
I would say the latter. I would say LSU's defensive line.
Yeah.
I think Florida State's defensive line should win that battle, but I'm not convinced that they're going to get anywhere close to dominating that battle. Because those guys, they haven't played a lot together, but I think they might end up being a pretty talented group. The LSU offensive line I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, I was going to almost say.
And look, man, I'm not trying to – I like Robert Cooper and I like Fabian Levitt. I think they're very good college players. I think one of them will definitely play on Sundays. They are not the caliber of the LSU defensive linemen. They're like a notch below it. They're good college football players. They're not dominant college football players.
Well, this could be their year to take a step forward and
maybe.
be in that.
I mean, I think Mason Smith, B.J.
Ojulari. Ollie Gay was all SEC, I think, second team, third team maybe.
Those guys, I think, are Sunday players for sure. I think Lovett and Cooper still have to play themselves. They're good college players, but they wouldn't start at LSU. Oh. All the guys we just mentioned would start at Florida State. That to me is the difference.
Yeah, but their center played tackle last year. Their left tackle played on Friday nights last year.
Yep.
They pulled a guy from FIU, which, not to denigrate FIU, we had an offensive lineman from there that did quite well for us when he was healthy.
And you tried to recruit this kid.
Yeah.
The Frazier kid.
Yeah, they really wanted Frazier a lot. So, LSU doesn't have, the Hogs out there. Joe Bugle ain't there coaching those boys up. Dante Scarnecchia is not coaching those guys up. So, as much as I'm concerned about getting home, I'm probably I'm too hyper-focused on Florida State maybe not being good enough up front. But maybe LSU's not all that great on their offensive line. But they're large, though.
I don't think they're great on their offensive line. They might end up being good by the end of the year. I think they will struggle some, and I think they'll struggle some in this game. I just think Florida State's defensive line isn't there yet. Honestly, it's probably not all that close right now to LSU's defensive line. Like McClendon and Verse are complete unknowns.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to. You're right. Random_John. My phone turned off. And where are we at right now, Corey?
We are leaving the state of Florida, which I love that it says thank you for visiting Florida. You don't see that in all the states.
Hey, add this. This is a new state to our repertoire. So
Alabama?
We've never done a show in Alabama before, I don't think.
Probably not.
We've done one in North Carolina. We've done one like in Nebraska.
That's right. We're driving through Nebraska. I think whatever's Missouri, maybe. I think
Iowa,
we did some in Missouri and Iowa, yeah.
All right, we're passing the Sweet Home Alabama sign.
Home of the World Games 2022. All right. Why didn't we come over for that, or is that coming up? What can you look up what the World Games 2022 was?
By the way, is J-Rob on a roster?
Yeah, is Janarius Robinson on a roster? He got hurt and he's out? Oh, that's too bad.
That's not cool.
He had a 4-year rookie contract with Minnesota.
Random_John. Good morning, guys. May this week find you covering a team that is 2-0. Amen, John.
Amen.
Quick question. What unit has to shine for FSU to win this game? What makes you feel that way? Everybody enjoy the sponsors, support the sponsors, subscribe for $1, go Noles.
I have two answers. Number one, my first answer is the receivers. They have to go make plays because they're going to have opportunities. Go win some one-on-ones. Go win some jump balls. Go run by a person. Go be really hard to guard, really hard to cover, because there's receivers all over the country that are really hard to cover. Go be one of those guys because I think they're going to get a lot of man-to-man. With Jordan Travis taking snaps, it changes the way a defense has to defend an offense, and you're not going to have a bunch of safeties over the top. So, and they're going to be playing up on you. Go make them pay for that. And then the other answer is one that maybe doesn't have to shine, but can't be poop, is the secondary.
Correct. Speaking of them, Dixie Knoll, do you keep Duke Cooper on Kayshawn Booty no matter where he lines up? Or do you just play normal coverage and hope for the best?
No, but only because, like, if it was the Duke Cooper that played at the end of last year in the spring and the first week of fall camp, I would think about it. But honestly, and I know the game film is completely different, but in practice, I would not say that I feel any differently about him than I do Renardo Green. You know what I mean? I think they've had similar camps. Obviously, Cooper didn't even play Saturday. So I would say no, he's not chasing booty all over the – he's not chasing booty. He's just going to stay in his spot.
How awesome would that be if Marcus Woodson just walked into the meeting room this week. He's like, y'all, hey, we chasing booty this weekend.
Chasing booty all over the field.
Chasing booty.
Yep.
Spear for that, blank Knoll. Hello, guys. We've covered the team from the start, so from his perspective, the fans still don't know where this team matches up. Will this game provide true perception as to the trajectory of the season, or should we reserve judgment for Louisville? Well, I kind of asked Norvell that question after practice on Thursday, and he said one game is not going to show where they'll end up being in October, November. It just shows where they are this week.
That's kind of how you have to look at it, right? Like, you can't put all your eggs into one. I mean, you can't answer that and say, well, yeah, this will tell us exactly who we are, because then if you lose, you still got 10 games left, including some really hard ones. So, no, I don't. For perception, it'll be a big, but I don't think it's going to define the season because, like we talked about, the season opener last year, and if you want to call this the de facto season opener because Duquesne was a walkthrough, that's fine. But last year's season opener clearly didn't define the season because they went and lost the next three after playing so well against Notre Dame, we thought. So, no, it's not a defining moment, win or lose. But, man, it sure would be nice to win. If you win, I would just like to see what this team looks like with some confidence after an actual big win. Yeah. The Miami game, I guess, was sort of
but the season was. I mean, that saved your season, but you weren't.
The season was already kind of punting on the. You already kind of punted on this. You lost 6 times when you beat Miami. This would be a nice feather in the cap to be 2-0 and to see if this team can really take off.
Miss Webb Silver Chief, which of our draft eligible players do you predict will have a great game? She says Jamie. It's not a bad pick.
That's a really good pick. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take her answer, but that would have been my answer if she'd have said somebody else.
Okay.
So, yeah. Can I say that, or do I need to come up with somebody else?
All right. We're
okay.
keeping it moving. We've hit the hour mark.
Trayshawn Ward is draftable, too.
There you go.
I think maybe him.
Knoll.since.11.1.81. First time posting on the Renegade.
His IP address?
First time posting on the Renegade Express. I'm from Tallahassee. Obviously, home of the great Crefonzo Thorpe, Pat Watkins, all Lincoln grads like myself.
Fred Rouse.
Yeah. Calvin Darity.
There you go. Andrew Henry McKinnon, right? Was he the offensive lineman from Lincoln?
Bird Gillum.
Yeah. God, kid went to Oregon, man. Crushed everybody's dreams.
There's somebody else I feel like. Anywho, I've been a Noles since November 1st, 1981. Parents are in the Marching Chiefs. My first game was the first Saturday after I was born.
Oh, jeez.
Played Miami that day. We lost 27-19. Mr. Clark, stats?
So 1981. Oh, so he played. So 81 was the game that they lost.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I know who would have been the quarterback. Kelly Lowry? No. Tough loss though. Tough loss.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
He asked the MVP of the game, which we've talked about. Just want to read his question. Love listening to the show. I do it while I'm selling alcohol on St. Simon's Island. P.S. Baby girl on the way. What's your opinion on a girl's name that's Knoll related to fit into the family? He currently has kids named Knoll and Campbell.
Oh, that's cool.
Ginger.
Ginger? How's that related to?
Bobby had a daughter named Ginger, right?
Well, that's a deep cut. I think it's got to be more like maybe something going along with what did he say the daughters' names were?
Campbell and Noel.
What about Renee? And then the middle name is like Gade.
Strong.
Renee Gade?
Strong.
That's pretty good, right?
Oh, man. NIL over everything. Greetings, gentlemen. I'm Christian, a.k.a. NIL over everything. I'm from Tampa, birthplace of Gary Huff, Aaron Murray, Matthew Stafford.
There you go.
It would have been cool if we could have got maybe those other guys instead of Gary Huff. Just kidding, Gary. Love you, man. Since we're on the topic of great quarterback play, looking back, is it safe to say Jordan Travis has been the best quarterback on our roster for the last 3 years? I mean, who else?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, McKenzie didn't work out the way we'd hoped. Hornibrook didn't work out the way we hoped. James
Old
Blackman can be
Hornswoggle.
watched. James Blackman's in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Support him. Once a Nole, always a Nole.
Well, look, man, if Jordan Travis starts in that bowl game, they'd have won that game.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? Like, it would have been – this could be Jordan Travis and Jaden Davis. Jordan Travis did play in that game and played a little bit at quarterback in the Sun Bowl. But if he'd have just started the game, because Blackman had, 5 turnovers?
Something like that,
and they still almost won. I feel like Jordan Travis at quarterback in that game, they might have even won comfortably because he'd have just run through their defense.
Are LSU's defensive ends fast enough to keep up with Jordan in space?
No defensive ends are fast enough to keep up with Jordan Travis. What they can do is make him – they can contain him. And, yes, they are.
Well, at least Ojolari is. I don't think Gay is.
Oh, you're right.
Ojolari
You're right.
is.
Yeah. But they can contain him and make him cut it back.
Yeah.
And do that where he can't just run around them. They'll if they have leverage, if they have outside leverage, they are good enough. Especially Ojolari is good enough athletically, like Jared Verse is, like where you can't just beat him to the spot. You might have to put your foot in the ground and go back inside, which is where the rest of the defense is.
Our guy Eric, Nole 43. Well, wake up, Nole gents. Aslan and Corey, LSU weekend. What an opportunity to showcase Florida State and take down LSU. He'll be arriving in New Orleans Saturday, just in time for the meet and greet.
There you go.
He sees the game coming down to the wire late fourth quarter. Either game-winning tutty or a Fitzgerald game-winning kick for the Noles.
Okay, all right.
As always, like and subscribe. Subscribe to warchant.com. It's only $1 a year. Go Noles. We're going to take over Bourbon Street this weekend. Eric, not from Cincinnati, but Tallahassee. Quay 6.
It is going to be a Florida State. I think at least these next 3 nights when we're in town,
Yeah.
I think so many LSU fans will just come for the game.
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of garnet in the streets in the quarter.
Quay 6. Is that DeLuna hot chocolate good?
More
Absolutely.
garnet or urine in the streets, do you think?
Come on, Corey.
I'm just saying it's going to be a crazy weekend in New Orleans. I haven't had the DeLuna hot chocolate. Have you?
Yes, and so is Michael Langston. He's a huge fan of it.
Did they like it?
Ben loved it.
Ben loves it. All right, well, there you go. You got all the feedback you needed right there.
If we beat LSU, I think we can be 12-0.
Oh, well, you can't be 12-0 unless you're 2-0.
That's true. Noleboy02, a fine hello to the Bourbon Street boys. Outside the 99 title, what is the best FSU moment in New Orleans? Or in a game versus LSU? Well, fifth quarter in the French Quarter, maybe.
Yeah, the 94 game against Florida after you tied them 31-31.
Yeah.
Actually, you beat them 31-31. And then you played them again and beat them. And Derek Brooks sealed it with an interception. That was a good way for his career to end. Intercepted Danny Werfel to win the game. So I would say that.
He would argue.
No, Dion. I think Dion intercepted the pass in the end zone in the 88 or 89 Sugar Bowl to end the 88 season.
There we go. Noleboy02 said maybe work done pass to Omar Ellison or Anquan catching a touchdown and throwing a touchdown. No, I mean, we lost.
They still
the
lost
Sugar
that
Bowl.
game.
Yeah.
It was cool that Warwick Dunn had that day throwing to Omar Ellison. It was a really good catch.
It's hometown.
Yeah, and Omar Ellison from Griffin, Georgia, my mom's hometown. So there's a connection there. There's always been a connection between the Clarks and the Dunns. But I would still say that was I think that 88 game just felt so much sweeter. I don't know why. Because you'd already played Florida. You kind of already beat them. You'd beaten them the year before and the year before that. So there wasn't a lot of joy necessarily in playing and beating Florida again. And I count the 31-31 game as a win. But that 88 game beating Auburn, that was pretty darn sweet. And it was at the birth almost of the dynasty still.
Renegade_Bryce. He's from Carrollton, Georgia. Longtime listener, first-time poster. Reggie Brown, Super Bowl winner Jonathan Jones from Carrollton, Georgia. He's getting into town Saturday morning. Can you repeat when the crew will be hanging at the Howlin' Wolf? 2 to 5 o'clock.
2 to 5, Georgia, Oregon. We're going to be watching some of that. And we're just going to be talking. It's not going to be we're all sitting in front of a TV, don't talk to us, don't distract us.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking. We'll be milling around. It'll be a good time.
Excuse me. In order to win, how many yards does Jordan Travis have to throw for? Over 265.
I'd say over 225.
Okay.
Because if you run for 200, and that's a big if, clearly.
Yeah.
But if you're running for 200, you can throw for 200 and win the game
All right.
pretty easily, maybe. Did you turn the seat warmer on?
I can't figure out what's going on. Like, they just got hot all of a sudden, and I can't turn it
These
off.
two people up here. Primo Nole
I mean,
one.
it is on. My back is on fire.
Oh, my God.
All right.
It's 90 degrees out. Corey might have
No, it's the seat warmers.
I know
on.
what I'm saying. The seat warmer. I mean, you had to be there, folks, to know what's going on. My gosh. We can't answer this question. Next
Okay,
question.
All right.
Well, no, he just
Was it rude?
no.
Oh, okay.
Wake up, guys. Previous handle on Warchant was Nole fan number 1. I'll give you 2 famous people that are from my area: Justin Gatlin, Bubba Watson.
Okay, so is that
Baghdad,
Is he
Florida?
Pensacola?
I guess so,
I thought
yeah.
Bubba was from Pensacola.
He's from Baghdad.
All right.
He asked if these people have these people participated in practice this week? Micah Pittman, yes. Johnny Wilson, yes. Maurice Smith, yes. Duke Cooper, yes. Wilson Wright, no, there is no Wilson Wright. Destin Hill, ha 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 ha.
Right.
PNW Nole, been listening for years. First time posting, had to take advantage of the great deal. But you all should really enjoy Corey's articles. Everything else is free. The podcast and YouTube videos are great, but you should check out Warchant for Corey's articles, he said.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I
He's a
appreciate
super
that.
talented writer.
Who is this?
PNW Nole.
P&W, man. You just became one of my favorite all-time question askers.
He's from Greenville, South Carolina, but I live in Washington State now. Marcus King went to high school with him. Always knew he'd become the rock star he is today. You played his music once for a Wake Up Warchant intro, which is the true sign of any musician's success. That is right.
I wonder what it's like living in the Pacific Northwest after growing up in South Carolina. It's a whole different ball game. And I wonder, I mean, it rains so much up there. I know that's a cliche, but I really do think you have to be strong mentally not to let that get to you.
Yeah.
It's just so
Yeah,
damp
no, it is.
and overcast.
Especially when you've grown up living
Yeah,
in
you
the
grew up
Sun
in South
Belt.
Carolina.
Yeah. All right, question. How much can you realistically compare the Notre Dame game last year to this one? If I remember correctly, that team was ranked pretty high. They were.
Yep.
And Norvell had a less talented team other than the defensive ends, and he pushed them all the way to overtime. Corey touched on this a little bit, was curious about Aslan's take as well. That's a good way to frame it, right? You know, that head coach with a better team, you push them to overtime. You have a better team. He's probably coaching a team that's not as. So that's the thing. I don't know if the talent versus you've had your culture instilled and you've developed these players and they know you, they trust you. You all have confidence in each other. They know how you're going to coach them. You know how they're going to react in a game situation. Brian Kelly does not really know how Kayshon Bootie's going to respond if he goes a quarter and a half without catching the ball and maybe things aren't coming his way. They haven't faced that sort of stuff. So that's maybe something that we really haven't explored enough because when you look it through that prism, you probably feel really good about Florida State's chances. The only thing I will say with this, though, is this program has not done all that well on the road over the last 2.5 years or, frankly, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Doak, I wasn't there that night, but you could watch on television. You could tell it was magical in that Notre Dame game. That crowd helped you probably at least 6 points. They doubled what the standard spread would be. I mean, that was a real big boost.
Especially in the fourth quarter. Because your defense had done jack poo all game. But then the fourth quarter, all of a sudden Notre Dame stopped scoring, and I think that had a lot to do with Jack Cohn and crowd noise.
Yeah.
And the great tight end just dropping a wide-open pass. That helped. But other than that, yeah, I do think that. But, I mean, I think before it got really tight where the crowd made a huge difference, you had already scored 28 points. You were at least within 10. So, yeah, I mean, it's – look, you know, I like I said, I think last year's Notre Dame team would beat this current LSU team. We'll see what they look like in November, but the LSU team in September, I think that Notre Dame team beats that team. I don't know if this Florida State team beats last year's Florida State team. I'd like to think they would, and probably comfortably. But I had the one question I have left, really, and it's the question we all have left, is what is this pass rush? And we'll know much more about it after Sunday night.
We'll go about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
Dabs 93, 99, 13. Wake up. Don't let the name fool you. It's your estranged longtime listener, sometimes poster Black Bert. I use my Google account to sign up. It's only $1, and I just left my name Dabs in there.
Yeah, everybody, these guys are preaching. It's $1. Sign up.
Head over.
Does it bother you at all, Aslan, how many of our loyal, longtime listeners weren't a member of Warchant?
Yeah,
It does or it doesn't?
Well, I thought we were worth $100.
Yeah, but I mean, we're definitely worth $1.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it, gang, and we do really appreciate it.
It's awesome.
Yep.
We kind of answered this, but I just want to read this question. But heavier passer run from the Noles on Sunday. Let's maybe package out with war, being what we saw from the quarterback backup. Do you think Coach Mike has to make subtle changes in the offense to reduce some risk of Jordan Travis getting injured?
No, because what makes Jordan Travis unique and special, or can make him special, is what he does with his legs. And you can't coach scared and you can't play scared, because if you're just going to say, let's take 40% of Jordan Travis's running element away from him, that really kind of hurt. Not kind of. It really hurts the offense. So there are quarterbacks all across this great land of ours that go entire seasons without missing games, and they run a lot. Quentin Flowers ran for 1,300 yards at USF. He wasn't some huge Tim Tebow looking monstrosity, and he made it through a season.
What was the guy from Houston? Greg Ward?
Greg Ward, yeah, he made it through a season.
Yeah.
Derek King didn't. But also, like I would say, again, like we've talked about, most of the times Jordan's gotten really beat up has been a hit he suffered while holding on to the ball, getting ready to throw it. It's not a designed run or a zone read. He does not a terrible job of getting down after he gets yardage and avoiding contact when he's running the ball. It's when he's trying to stay in and wait for the last possible second to throw it. That's where the danger is.
I think Florida State last year was like a 56-44 run to pass. I mean, I guess we'll tabulate the numbers after. I mean, what do you think they'll be splits-wise on that then, Corey?
For this game or for the season?
For this game. I
mean, that sounds about right? Well, unless they're, that.
I think it'll be a little bit. I think they'll be like 52-48 run to pass.
If it's like 35-65 pass or run to pass, like if you pass 65% of the time, that's probably a pretty bad sign. It means you've abandoned the run almost because you can't run. Yeah.
Or
I think they're always going to want to hover.
45-41 game, yeah.
But you're always going to want to hover around 50. That's what Norvell wants. That's what he builds this program on. The foundation is being a running football team. So if 50-50 is kind of what you're looking for. If you run 80 plays, that's 40 pass attempts. That's a lot for Jordan Travis.
I'm going to read Miss Carroll's question, but she asked pretty much the same thing. She asked for percentage of passing to run. But Seminole Carroll, I'm a newly It's Only $1 subscriber. This is my first time posting. I'm from a small town of Umatilla. Is that how we pronounce it, Steph? Umatilla? No famous people that I'm aware of, but I did teach for 31 years at the high school in English at Winter Park, Florida, where I had the privilege of knowing and teaching 2 NFL players, Trevor Price and Brandon Marshall.
Oh, all right.
I also watched the Seminoles play football for over 5 decades since a child. I'm a proud graduate of the university from the 80s, possessing 2 degrees. So that's awesome. Thanks, Carol. I think it's Carol Palalis. I think it's our Facebook.
Oh, all right. I wonder if weren't there a couple Brandon Marshalls that played in the NFL? I wonder if it's
2
the
of
receiver.
them, yeah. I think it's a receiver because he also played at UCF.
Oh, there you go.
I don't think the
makes
linebacker
sense.
did.
Yeah.
Ruthless_Gaze. Thank you, Carol.
She didn't have a question.
Well, she had the same about the pass to run ratio.
Doing the Lord's work, teachers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teachers do the Lord's work, man. God bless them.
Ruthless_Gaze. Will FSU's offense be better this year with Dillingham gone? Or will it be the same since it's Norvell's offense anyways? It'll be better because there's better players. I don't know how much
I don't know that Dilly was hamstringing Norvell.
Yeah,
After all, at the end of the day, it's on Norvell's shoulders. If he doesn't like what's going on with the coordinator, he fixes it. Yeah, so I don't really blame Dillingham for the struggles necessarily. It is Norvell calling plays. I'm interested in that. Legitimately, I want to see what that looks like. If it's if we can even decipher a difference. Obviously, Saturday you couldn't tell anything. But I'm very interested in what this looks like on Sunday in a game like this.
By the way, Noles says what's up. Corey Clark's a man of the people. He took time out from the Duquesne game to take a photo with me and my daughter.
Yeah, show Stephanie that.
So he remembers that.
That was me on the sideline.
So
I thought he was asking me to climb up the bricks to the first row, and I'm like, buddy, I'm not strong enough. I'm not a good enough athlete to do that. So he leaned over and took a selfie with me on the sideline.
Yeah. Travis J is out there.
And I appreciate him not asking to take a picture with Ira.
Yes.
Ira, you can keep walking.
I haven't heard anything about Travis J recently. What's up with that?
He's not a part of the plans this year, would not appear,
No.
because he just doesn't get a lot of run in practice, maybe.
All right. We're going to get through all of them here.
Oh, sweet.
Probably close to it. Law Knoll.
Driving by a truck with a whole bunch of sod on it. We also drove by a truck earlier, Aslan, with cows in it.
Yeah.
But the cows were like 15 feet in the air.
Yeah, it was amazing. They were like peeking out the
They were
top
what?
of it. It was amazing.
They were baby cows, Stephanie says.
Law Knoll 04 has got a joke. Is Destin Hill going to have a big game? He must be excited to play in his hometown of New Orleans.
That's right. Him and Greedy Vance both, man.
Don_Rugans. Long question. Sorry in advance. Read the room, Don. You're the 45th question out of 49. Do you think we were going to get to the long one?
Come on, Don.
How much better is this coaching staff versus the previous? Is he better in every measurable category? Play calling, hiring assistants, game planning, running a practice, everything else a coach needs to be good at. Thanks for all the content. Go Noles.
I mean, look, from my perspective, yes. But that really doesn't matter, does it?
No.
At the end of the day, the only way you judge a football coach, or any coach for that matter, is if you have more points on the scoreboard than the other team. And right now, while I think he is better, but number one, because of what you hear about how the behind the scenes works, what we've seen in practice, and how it seems to be more structured and organized, having a full staff, not coaching a man down, maybe more attention to detail, all that stuff is fine. But man, he hadn't won more than Willie. Now's the time to start, Mike. I do think, but now's the time to start. And Willie's 2018 recruiting class is still much higher ranked than anything Norvell's had.
Yeah.
So I don't know that you can say he's a better recruiter. Willie certainly wasn't knocking it out of the park his last year because the product wasn't great. But, he hovered around 19 or 18, and that's where Norvell is right now. So
yeah, it's crazy though. You look at that 20 class, his first signing class. Like you got Robert Scott, who's going to end up starting at left tackle for like 3 dozen games for you probably. DJ Lundy's a guy that's slowly creeping into your rotation. Ja'Kai Douglas is a guy that once he's back in the rotation probably helps you. I mean, that was a really gross-looking class on paper. And listen, this has not been a very great team on the field, so obviously you're going to play. And relatively speaking, you didn't have a lot of great stuff behind you. But that 2020 class, for being put together really on the fly with a new coach, with a very bad product to sell, might end up giving you more productive players than an 18 class with, pretty much the world at your disposal when you're really tagged with all the good vibes and everything that you had there.
When you look at them recruiting, though, the advantage that Norvell, I think, has that Willie didn't is the portal.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
wide open. But
absolutely.
Willie Taggart took over a program that was a year removed from winning the Orange Bowl. So there's a difference there, too, right? So that's the advantage Willie had, is Florida State was 4 years removed from a 29-game winning streak and, 13 months removed from an Orange Bowl win. Not even 13 months. 9 months removed from winning an Orange Bowl.
I always remember asking him, I'm like, hey, in the spring, like this team you're taking over was preseason ranked 3rd last year, but they barely made it to a bowl game. What's the truth? What are you closer to? Is this team closer to being preseason number 3 or a middling, barely making a bowl game? And he was like, man, he's like, we got mutants around here. We got freaks. It was like, all right. So he thinks he feels pretty good about this place. Yeah. Didn't work out. Two more, I think.
What city are we driving into?
Mobile, buddy. Mobile.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
And this is historically a horrible bridge to be on, but maybe
So you just
Part
jinxed it. Why would you say it while we're
Part
still
of good
on
Corey's cracking the whip on me to get there early. We should have. Yeah, getting in this tunnel.
Oh, you're talking about the traffic. Yeah, the traffic's
yeah.
out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember this. Yep.
The tunnel's fun to go through. I think we got 2 more. Let's get to them.
All right, let's do it before we get to the tunnel.
Yeah, that's right. Winter Haven Knoll, wake up. The last time the Noles played LSU, who scored 3 times in the comeback 27-16 win, Corey?
Amply.
Correct. My question, do you see one player scoring multiple times, or is this a spread it out between several players type of game? Go Noles.
I see Trayshawn scoring twice. I'm on record with that. I keep bringing up Trayshawn. Do not let me down, Trey Dog. We still don't know if it's going to be Trey Bien or Trey Javu or Trey Magnifique. There's a lot of things there, but and also I don't necessarily love Trey Javu or Trey Bien because it doesn't incorporate Toafili.
Yes.
But so we got to figure out a way maybe to incorporate all of them. But Trayshawn Ward is going to score 2 touchdowns.
Okay. Man, am I going to go all in on Johnny here? No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think a bunch of different guys scoring.
You think they're probably going to have multiple guys score at least 2 touchdowns.
Column A and column B. Mahogany Strat's got a lot of cool stuff to share here. He's from Baker, Florida, first time posting. His name is Mahogany Strat because it's his first guitar, the Fender Stratocaster, made from mahogany instead of a traditional alder or ash.
All right.
By the way, I've been listening to Wake Up since 18, and when the subscription was offered for $1, you know what I did? I signed up.
There it is. Nice.
Easy. I mean, it's what you do.
He had some drama. He set up a little tension there. We weren't sure what he did, and then he went ahead and said he signed up.
Much like Corey, FSU did not offer me the degree I wanted, so I went to school in Minneapolis. I would catch as much Noles as I could on television, but I didn't think to try to stream games. But that's happened here recently with the advent of technology, mostly. So my question, is that the worst luck anyone has ever had with following a program closely? Basically, I was there for the lost decade. He said he's been watching Florida State since he was 10, starting in 2003.
Okay.
And then I followed the team closely up until he went to college in 2011 in Minneapolis. So is that the worst luck for anyone that's ever followed a program closely? Basically, I was there for the lost decade, missed the good stretch, and then showed back up for Jimbo's last year.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty rough that you weren't there at all for the great times, the great Jimbo times. Yeah. You were there for the lost decade, and Jimbo was an OC early on. Yeah, I'd say you were like, Daryl Mudra? He never got any of that FSU glory. He got him right up to the precipice, and then Bowden took him the rest of the way.
Well, how about me? I'm here for the lost decade. I leave.
Oh, yeah, you're a good one, too. You've got a very similar story.
I moved back home and worked a job that let me have a normal weekend like you normal human beings. But then as soon as I get a job in television, working on the weekends, Jimbo Fisher takes over, starts building this thing into a monster. And then when I move to Tallahassee to cover this team, they go into the worst stretch in decades upon decades. But that's all going to change. This weekend is the first big step in that trajectory and that change. Florida State takes on LSU Sunday. The Warchant game day presented by Zaxby's starts at 6:30 Eastern time, which is an hour before the game. Tom Lang, Jeff Cameron, and then the watch along might just be Tom and Dominic Robinson. I might try to get out of that, everybody. But we'll have that covered for the watch along, and then the post-game show with Gene Williams and Tom Lang also going down. Warchant wrap after that. And also before that, though, Saturday, meet and greet, Howlin' Wolf, 2 to 5 o'clock in the quarter. We're all going to be there. I think we figured out how to get through an entire 45 reply question show, and that's to get on the road and drive, Corey. So
we went from exit 70 in Florida right into the heart of Mobile. Can either one of you name the most famous athlete to ever come out of Mobile?
Hank Aaron.
Oh, well, Stephanie was just about to say it, too. You beat her by half a second. But, yes, the great Hank Aaron.
This feels like a great time as we enter the tunnel.
We are going through the tunnel, everyone,
in Mobile. We're losing static. All right. For Stephanie and Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.